All right, so let's get straight to it. So for this video, I want to go over what is black culture. All right. Now, a little bit about me. I'm from the South. I'm in Georgia. I grew up with the same background that a lot of other black men grow up with, right? I come from the projects. I come from a single parent household. All right. I remember growing up seeing everybody around me either selling drugs or trying to rap and stuff of that nature. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't until I started looking around and I had to observe my surroundings, my environment, that really put me on a different track. I remember going to church when I was younger, and I would look around at how it was just a fashion show and nothing was being taught. I think back to listening to all the different negative rap music that I have listened to growing up. And looking back from then to now, nothing's changed. Everything's still the same. What you come to understand when you get into the scriptures is the so called Bible is a historical book that shows the history and the strong culture of the so called black people, which are really the Israelites of the Bible, the Most High God's chosen people, right? That's the stuff they don't want to tell you. That's why they will flood your community with churches. You'll have one church on one side of the street and one on the other side. People run there every Sunday to worship the sun god, but that still isn't building no value, no respect amongst your own people. All right? You got to think about this. Anybody else you approach and talk to on this planet, they're going to show you a place where if you go there, 90% of the people look like them. They have a language, they have a currency. There's no place called black. There's no language called black. There's no currency called black. So when I had got into the Bible and I stumbled upon Deuteronomy 28, and it was revealing the blessings and the curses that God chose the people would go through and experience, depending on if they serve Him as their God or take on the gods of the other nations and get into idolatry. As we know, that's what happened. And as we know now, the curses are upon us. Each and every day as I go out and I look around, I see nothing but lost sheeps. Wickedness is promoted on high level, high scales. But this stuff goes all the way back. It's been a plan and an agenda to keep God chosen people disenfranchised, impoverished, lack of knowledge, and at the bottom. And what we do, we keep that reel rolling, right? We keep it spinning. We have so many idols in the so called black community. Look at the cars. You got your scat packs, right? That's the main car that they're trying to steal. All right. You can't even get a sports car and it look nice without young niggas trying to pull up in your yard at 3 a.m. trying to steal your stuff. You work hard for your family just to provide a living, just to have to fear your own people coming to try to steal what you have worked for. The moment you go buy a gun as a black person, the only people you can see yourself using it on is your own people. And that's very sad. And everything is there in the Torah. You just got to read and you just got to study. We're not going to gain any knowledge, wisdom, and understanding by looking at Greek philosophy, books like the New Testament. Every church you see in the black community is a New Testament teaching church. And as you see, everybody's there, but no message is being spreaded. Women walking around with every color weave and hair you could think of in their head because they don't appreciate the woolly hair that the Most High gave them and their own, their own hair texture. All right. Our young boys out here will be ready to call young niggas, do money spreads, walk around with shiesty masks on and puffer jackets in the summertime, toting weapons on them just to walk down the street. This is reality. This is a reality. Women out here dressing promiscuous. Any and every curve that they have on their body being revealed to a T. So it's nothing for a husband to really desire of a black woman because everything is on display and just out there for everybody to see. Witchcraft, gang banging, wickedness run rapid in the so-called black communities, right? The typical look with black women now is the dreads with the bull nose hoop earring and some kind of shells and beads on the dreads, and that's like witchcraft 101, right? I rarely see black women with black hair anymore. The color that's preferred is the blonde hair. Don't the scriptures that tell us about not envying our oppressors? All right. Everybody want to have the long, straight hair. Ashamed of the coily hair that the Most High bless you with. It's ridiculous. Running around tatted up from neck down to your ankles. Men and women. We are lost as a community. No fathers in the homes, no fathers in the pictures, no men leading the young, no true mothers nurturing. All right? You got the older women trying to compete with the younger women. And the moment when they do find someone that's going to treat them right, they're being told, oh, you young, go live life, go have fun. Which is leading you to nothing but whoremongering and being a harlot. Young boys growing up seeing men after men come in and out of the house, which give them that same impression that women are just infinity stones to collect like Thanos. Where's the family building? There is none. And it's all by design. And it's all due to the fact that we're out of order. Women are not supposed to be going around picking their own men. It's supposed to be the father that finds the husband for the daughter. That's according to scripture. Men priority shouldn't be just finding a woman to have sex with. You know what I'm saying? It's really ridiculous. I sit back and I just think about how here in Georgia, what happened to Atlanta and how it's now the black alphabet capital of America. That's by design. All right. I remember it used to be San Francisco, but they moved it to the South. I think back about how this all started. You know, you had the 80s with the drug epidemic. All right. Feminism. The black woman holding their fist up, standing with everybody else, going against their man. Meanwhile, jobs, whole entire communities have been taken away. And they gave us projects because it's a project. People standing in the split block selling dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that to look at as a young black boy? as a young black girl, seeing your women walk around revealing themselves, seeing all your men out here standing on the block trying to sell drugs and stuff, guns on them. You know, it's a shame. I thought of all the idols of the so-called black community. The iPhone is now an idol. It's not even about having a phone. It's just viewed as a social status. Jordans. You know, I wear shoes due to comfort and what I like. It's to the point that it's not even about that. You know, our people actually go to school and get bullied because of not having Jordans on. That's ridiculous. Look at that mentality. Look at that mindset. Where you have all the negative influence from all these puppet rappers that sold out. Those are the heroes, the heroes of this society to the black culture. You know? Then Lil Durk and Lil Baby come out with a mixtape called Voice of the Heroes. That's the goal. That's the agenda. All right. Meanwhile, they're going to keep it coming. They're going to have one female fall off and bring out another one. All right. You're going to have your Nicki Minaj. She fall off. And then you're going to have your Cardi B. She go down. Then you're going to have your Glorilla. Then you're going to have your Megan. And so on and so on and so on. They go keep it going. Rap, doing music used to be a passion of mine. It was the only thing I saw myself doing in life. Up to the point that I started to notice all the satanic symbols that was placed in music videos and the signs and symbolism that the rappers were throwing up. The negative effect of the music that's being pushed and portrayed to my people. And then 2020 came when I really jumped into the scriptures and studying and building a relationship with the Most High became my priority. That became my passion. Studying history. I enjoy this, you know? And it's just, I'm going to do a video on the destructive force of rap music because at this point it is a weapon used against us. All right? And that's just the truth with it. You know, we got to come back to the Torah. We got to get back to serving the Most High. We got to get back to following our own culture. We have to understand that the civil rights movement with people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, all of that was a psyop just to get us assimilated, to keep us at a loss of heritage, to keep us without wisdom and understanding, to keep us away from going back to the Most High. You know, you got to understand when you look deep into the black community, how it's set up and ran. You go to the church and the church is ran by nothing but Freemasons and frat brothers and sorority sisters and Eastern Stars. All right. Every black barbershop you go to, you're going to see Masonic imagery all over on the walls. They teach. Go to school, get your education, go to college, just to be a slave and keep a slave mentality. Meanwhile, it's never taught about doing that stuff with the goals of opening your own businesses, bringing money and keeping it in your own community. You know, a lot of black people speak and say stuff like it's just so easy. Oh, well, you know, if we come together, we can make it. You know, and it's not that simple. You got to understand that out of pretty much every so-called black person that you look at, I can go outside right now and grab 20 brothers. And this man is a Christian. He's a Baptist. He's a Muslim. He's a Mason. You know, Everybody's into something else. That's not culture by bringing different people that look the same together with different ideologies. That's not culture. Real culture is everybody having one mindset, all right, and one accord. And unfortunately, with the Israelite community, it's no culture even with that, because it's a big separation. And the biggest separation of everything is that New Testament, all right, where the main God of the New Testament is contradicting everything that the Father set in place to get us back on track to being holy, set apart. It doesn't make sense, but that's the reality that we live in. All right, that's the reality. You know, I just think, man, because I just sit and look, I just sit and watch. I talk to people from different walks, different experiences, and I hear the same stories. I see the same things. And it's sad that when you try to tell people of their errors to help them get on track, you get perceived as spewing out hate, or it's taken in a negative light. Black people quick to say it takes a village, but the moment you throw out an opinion that differs than what the entire herd is following, now you're shunned upon, you're disliked. People like Nipsey Hussle can be deified as a god figure. Tupac, all these sellout artists. We value jail culture. Somebody getting out of jail is celebrated harder than somebody graduating college. That's ridiculous. Meanwhile, no matter where you go, when you get to the so-called black part of the city, you're going to see the same thing, right? Every corner store and convenience store ran by the Indians and the Arabs. All the hair stores with the Asians. White man got everything else. What your people go have in that hood? A street called Martin Luther King, which is going to be the hood and the projects. That's the reality. And then these same rappers that y'all glorify do nothing but continue to spread this poison. 50 Cent doing nothing but dropping nothing but ignorant nonsense. Shows like Power, shows like Snowfall, they want to keep us in that mindset. BMF, all that type stuff. Bad Girl Club, baddies, all that type stuff. Any and everything to keep you in wickedness. Because in actuality, they feel that as long as they keep you in wickedness, they have more time to rule over you. All right? But the awakening is here. The remnant is being gathered and set apart. That's the reality of the situation. It was just something that I want to really go over. And it's time for a change, but it starts in the household. It starts with the man understanding who he is and actually stepping up to lead the family, not the so-called black woman. All right? It got to be the man come back to serving the Most High and then establish order with his woman and through his children. And that's how you build a strong culture. I'm going to drop more videos. I'll speak more on all different types of subjects. Throughout my life, I have acquired a lot of wisdom and understanding on various topics. And I want to use this platform to express everything. All right? This is only the beginning. More to come. Stay tuned. I'm out.